Good day, sir. I'm Justin Johansel M. Silva from Grade 12 ISI. Today, I'm going to discuss the research study entitled Effectiveness of Stress Management Program Among UCC Teachers. Here in the first part, data analysis shown the research study which is this effectiveness of stress management program among UCC teachers. The design used was experimental. The respondents of this was UCC teacher, and the research objective is to determine if the stress management program has significant effect to the perceived stress of the respondents. Let's move on to the next part, which is the SOP. The question was, what is the demographic profile of the UCC teachers in terms of the following: age, sex, work status, length of service, subject teaching. Describe it using frequency and percentage. In this data, I used to make a table per teacher and their subject teaching. As you can see in the following table, there are 16 subject teaching which are the following: Filipino, Science, DRRR, Entrep, English, Gen Bio, Mathematics, Social Science, MIL, MTech, Events, PR1, UCSP, Pagbasa at Pagsulat, Culminating Activity, ABM Subject. I use the frequency and percentage to get data from their demographic profile. All the table which has different subject teaching was almost the same when it comes in the table or what is included in all the table per subject teaching. Moreover, in making this table, first, I include the age which is from 23 to 46. Age 23 is the lowest and 46 is the highest, or the maximum age. Next is the frequency, which is the number of teacher whose age is around 23 to 35, and the other one is around 36 to 46. The next column is the percentage and it's equivalent to 100%. Fourth is the sex, which has male and female. The total number, sorry, per sex and its percentage. Next is the work status, same procedure, the frequency and its percentage. And lastly, the length of service, which I coded to 1 to 9 months and 1 to 9 years, with frequency and its percentage. So here is the other table per subject teaching. You will see the result. Each column is equivalent to 100%. Now, let's move on in the next part. You will see there the mean score per teacher which is shown in the table provided. There are three columns which is the number of teacher, the sum of all number in dataset, and the number or the total count of all in dataset. All of the details were used from the raw data 1. Below the mean score per teacher is the overall mean of the combination of all teacher from teacher 1 to teacher 28. Sorry. Sum of all the teacher and N is the number of items in dataset. The last column is the total or the overall mean, which the total is equivalent to 2.539. To compute the mean, the formula is mean equals sum over n, where sum add up all of the values to get the sum, and number of items in set. Now, let's answer the first question. What is the perceived stress of the teachers before the implementation of stress management program? Get the mean score per teacher, then get the overall mean. In the result, the mean has a score of 2.539 from the overall mean of raw data 1. It has been demonstrated that there is a high likelihood that all teachers will not perform well in the classroom or in online classes. Possibility of getting stressed, anxious, fearful, burned out, overloaded with work, papers, and many more will cause and affect the student performance. However, while the program is ongoing, it can still improve the performances of each teacher in public or in private by participating and getting himself herself involved in coping with stress and learning how to minimize those low performances. In raw data 2, you will see there the mean score per teacher which is shown in the table provided. There are three columns, which is the number of teacher, the sum of all number in the data set, and the number or the total count of all in the data set. All of the details were used from the raw data to which the total is equal to 1.98. 98, sorry. Next question. What is the perceived stress of the teachers after the implementation of stress management program? Get the mean score per teacher, then get overall mean. In the result below, the mean has a score of 1.98 from the overall mean of raw data 2. It has been shown that after implementing the stress management program, there are changes. From suffering from a heavy workload to having convenient and non-stressful work environment. It is clear that this program has a significant impact on stress management due to overworking and other factors. We all know that teachers are confronted with numerous pieces of paperwork and workloads. Moreover, this data shows how helpful and powerful one program can be in demonstrating the enhancing our ability to overcome things and not stress too much. However, teachers may sometimes lack the ability to cope with it. But somehow, they try to keep themselves calm and motivated. Next, is there a significant difference with the perceived stress of the teachers before and after of the management program? Yes. As I've seen in the result, I noticed that before the implementation of stress management program, which has a high result from the sum of all datasets, the overall mean was 2.539. Which is interpreted as high. While after implementing the stress management program, the results were low. And it seemed that after implementing the stress management program, all the teacher had lessened their stress, burnout, overwork, etc. Moreover, by showing and computing the result, it can be predicted as an effective way of coping with stress for all teachers, whether in public or private school. And let's ano, um, let's go to the discussion. The data shows how many teachers can possibly adapting during the time frame of coping with the stress while implementing the stress management program. As a researcher, I noticed that some teachers may be anxious about doing something by getting stressed in the back of their workloads. However, in conducting this study, it seems that there has been a change before and after the implementation of the stress management program. As a researcher, I decided to create a table displaying the demographic profile of UCC teachers by their subject. Using frequency and percentage, we can identify what the result is in conducting and computing by the table. I include every teacher in that subject, including their age, gender, length of teaching service, and work status. It's clear that the result of each teacher has a specific number of teachers who are teaching the same subject but different in sex, age, and length of service in teaching. The data analysis will show how effective the implementation of the stress management program is for all teachers at UCC. As a result, prior to implementing the stress management program, some teachers were anxious and unwell due to their stress, and they were considering how to combat and cope with it. There are a lot of reasons why they may feel stressed or anxious, but somehow their studies may affect their performance in teaching students. Whether it is in an online class setup or in a face-to-face class, we get a high result, which means that all teachers are still at the level of confronting their workloads and perceiving their own sins in order to lessen their stress while teaching. Moreover, after the implementation of the stress management program, the results were low, and it seems that his program is effective in giving advice on how to deal with it. This statement concerns new to us as this problem is still present with all teachers nationwide. Furthermore, we got result by using frequency and percentage and also by computing the mean of each teacher and as a whole. And next is conclusion. In this study, it clearly showed the result of the effectiveness of the stress management program among UCC teachers after its implementation. However, before the implementation, we've seen the result and it's not good for all teachers. Moreover, in this program, the teacher gave an effective solution on how to lessen their stress. It seems that it has had a successful implementation as the result was highly and consistently good. By implementing their program, it was good for all teachers to relax and know their side of being stressed and not in the mood to teach students. Still, the result of it was reflected by their performances, skills, and knowledge. Furthermore, based on the results all the teachers had experienced when it came to scene overload, some of them feel less some of them feel less stressed after the program. Some of them are under 55% stress and some of them are 50% overload. Overall, you can see the gap between before and after implementing the stress management program. As the researcher, the program is effective in reducing the stress among UCC teachers. Next and lastly is recommendation. After review discoveries and ends are drawn, sorry, the study opens numerous potential regions for future researchers. We suggest a few methodologies that need exceptional consideration, given that the study's objective is determining if the stress management program has significant effect to the perceived stress of the respondents. Future researchers might think about expanding the extension to additionally figure out the stress management among UCC teachers. Besides, the review zeroed in exclusively on UCC educators situated in the School of Unida Christian Colleges, Unida Christian Universities. Future analysis could likewise broaden and degree if appropriate to make ready for a more useful conversation. A relative methodology might be used to see whether the discoveries of the study could likewise apply to those students and organizations too. For the instruments that were utilized in this review, the recurrence and rate were utilized in estimating the viability of stress management programs when the execution of 28 teachers in UCC. As a reacher in leading and dissecting this review, I recommended to the future researcher to proceed or utilize this review to be essential for the exploration. Concentrate on from here on out. It will definitely relate and interface with this review, some way or another, in the event that the big study is leaned towards this review. Ultimately, utilizing this will give a more engaged comprehension of the viability of stress, the management by grasping and teachers' performance during the live meeting or in the actual meeting, and dissecting in the event that it is an inactive or leaned in examination subject of effectiveness of stress management program among UCC teachers. So, that is the end of my presentation. Once again, I am Justin Johansel M. Silva from Grade 12 Isaiah. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.